Hello, Woden's Day and World Economic News on Woden's Day. The Telegraph. This is the UK. Bank of England Governor Mervyn King warns on interest rate rise. And from this article we find Mervyn King, the boss of the Bank of England, saying the economic consequences of high-level indebtedness now would become more severe if rates were to rise. It's the main reason why interest rates are so low. I'll translate for you. The Governor of the Bank of England is saying, I've got to keep the rates low because if I put the interest rates up, the people that are in so much debt wouldn't be able to pay their debts back. Which, when you think about it, is a piss poor position to find yourself in. Guardian Co. UK. Squeeze on incomes expected to rule out rate rise. So a similar sort of theme, but we get a slightly different twist on it from some chap called Bootle that people seem to be taking a lot of notice of today. A fall in real incomes by 2% was certain this year, he said. That was this Mr. Bootle in charge of Deloitte and Touche or Economist or something, I don't know. Ensuring Britain would register 4 successive drops in spending power for the first time since the first Great Depression in the 1870s. Yes, 1870s. An additional reason to be pessimistic about the outlook for household incomes is the deepening fiscal squeeze. In other words, households are in bad enough shape, but the government, that's fiscal, are going to be cutting back on spending, so that's going to be less money going in aggregate out to the households. Real incomes do not provide the definitive picture as to the health of household finances, but taking a broader look at households' finances arguably leaves the position looking even worse. I think that this year will see falling real earnings, falling real house prices and rising unemployment. So he's a cheery chap, Mr. Bootle. The question being, obviously, we knew this would happen, but is it a cure and things will be better later? In other words, will it be better after it gets worse? Because it getting worse is now guaranteed, but will it then again get better? This is just a link to the market news release, which is mentioned in this next article from the Telegraph. Eurozone PMI figures stoke fears of two-speed recovery in Europe, where we get the buoyancy of the PMI data, because it's good, also reflected strong job creation in Germany, Austria, the Netherlands, Ireland, France, and companies sought to deal with rising backlogs. So that's quite good. There was also evidence of firms feeling inflationary pressure as manufacturers' selling prices rose for the 13th consecutive month to an almost record high since the survey began in 1997. Chris Williamson, chief economist at Market, said the two disappointments were the near record increase in manufacturers' selling prices, which will fuel inflationary concerns among policymakers, and the growing divergence between the performance at the core and the periphery. In other words, the core are generally doing quite well, and the periphery generally are doing quite badly. Separate research by the CBI found that small manufacturers in the UK, because this is slightly separate from Europe, they're UK separate, are seeing the volumes of orders at home and abroad grow at the fastest rates in 16 years, similar to the core of Europe. Although the business group warned that smaller companies in the UK are also being squeezed by intense cost pressures. Again, a recurring theme. Manufacturers are getting elevated input prices, and either they will have to raise their prices at the gate or take a margin squeeze and less profits. they'll obviously try for more price at the gate. Financial Times, Brazil's misleading trade surplus. Take a look at Brazil's trade balance and you might be surprised. This is the country with one of the world's most overvalued currencies. A currency which is now so strong that it is supposedly crippling exporters and flooding the country with cheap imports. However, Brazil's trade surplus actually widened for the third consecutive month in April and reached a record for the year, data showed on Monday. Last month's surplus hit nearly 2 billion, up from about 1.5 billion in March and 1.3 billion a year earlier. It was almost $1 billion higher than the median Bloomberg forecast. The main reason for this, though, is the rapid rise in the price of commodities, the vast majority of those exports, if you get the drift. New York Times, Hong Kong, rare earth prices are reaching rarefied heights. World prices have doubled in the last 4 months for rare earths, metallic elements needed for many of the most sophisticated civilian and military technologies, whether smartphones or smart bombs. And this year's increases come atop price gains of as much as fourfold in 2010. Yahoo Finance gives us the base metal that's better than gold. Helicopter patrols, barbed wire fences and new laws are being brought in, all to stop thieves of the hottest commodity out there at the moment, copper. And I've put this in really to say that there is a balance, there is a theme here, and the poverty that will arise in places will lead to thievery, and commodities going up in price will be prized by thieves to be thieved. It happened quite a lot actually in 2008 and will happen again. Things will be pulled down and disappeared and cause an awful lot of fuss for local governments generally. Finish with Walmart. That's filling a need. Walmart starts selling guns again to boost income. Walmart said it would sell firearms, including ammunitions, in areas where hunting and fishing are popular hobbies. It's America, I think, isn't it? Walmart announced on Thursday it will sell again firearms in about 2,000 US stores. Makes you worried, doesn't it? See you tomorrow. Bye.